I wash my hair every single day. Oh my gosh, you are using a shampoo with silicones and sulfates in it almost every day. Yes, I do it because my scalp thrives. Is it gonna work for you? Who knows? This is what is working for my scalp. I am trying to grow my hair to my waist. Right now it is sitting just above my shoulders and I'm giving myself about a year and a half to get there. I am keeping a lot of what I've always done the same, but I am also making a few really intentional changes to my routine, especially when it comes to styling and how I handle my hair day to day. Don't get me wrong, my hair was long before and it was very healthy, but it wasn't healthy all the way down. I was doing things that forced me to trim constantly, things like tight elastics, using heat when I didn't need to, and technically there's nothing wrong with that approach if you are okay with maintaining your length by trimming all the time. I was fine with that at the time. I miss my hair really bad. I want it to grow as long as possible, as quickly as possible. I am gonna try to not cut it for 18 months. I'm washing my hair basically every single day. I am not avoiding sulfates or silicones. I am using a lot of products on my hair. I'm gonna break it all down in this video for you guys. This is literally everything that I am doing right now, step by step, product by product. Everything that I mention is going to be tagged directly on the screen, and I'm also going to include links in the description. A quick side note before we get into this video, I actually built a hair care app with my husband called Hair to Hair. It is what I personally use to track my routine, take progress pictures, get product recommendations based on my actual hair type and my hair goals. You can also log your wash days, set reminders, and see your growth over time and just your progress. It's available for iPhone and Android, and it has honestly been so helpful to stay consistent with my new hair care routine. So if you are serious about growing your hair, just taking care of your hair, the app is there if you want. All right, so quickly addressing the obvious, yes, I cut my hair even though I want it long again. I wanted a clean slate, and honestly, I was tired of constantly trimming the ends of my hair. Another thing was that I had my second baby in December 2023. I don't know if it's that it was my second baby or what the deal is, but I lost so much hair postpartum this time around, so much more than I lost with my son in 2020 and 2021. I kind of just wanted like a clean slate. Also, 2024 was rough for me. I was postpartum. I was diagnosed with OCD, not something that I developed in 2024, something that I have had since I was like 5 years old from what I can remember. I just didn't know what it was at the time. I was also very stressed, and when you're stressed, OCD gets worse. In a moment when I felt really out of control, chopping my hair felt like something that I could control. Long story short, now I'm in a better place. I am growing it now because I want to, not as a compulsion. I don't want to get too much into this, but I have done exposure response prevention therapy, which is the therapy that you need to overcome your OCD. I don't want to say like totally get over it because it's always going to be there, but just to tackle your OCD. And so I have completed that and I am doing so much better. Although this routine may seem obsessive, the thing to keep in mind is that if I miss a day, it's fine. I'm not freaking out over it. I'm not losing my mind. I took the idea of like trying to reset my hair and start over, but I took it to the freaking extreme by getting a bob. One of the biggest game changers in this entire hair growth journey is how I style and protect my hair daily. Listen, what you do with your hair in between wash days matters just as much as what you do on your wash days. So right now I pretty much live in loose half up buns. I leave the ends sticking out on purpose so that they don't get caught or creased in the hair tie. I use satin scrunchies. I thought I had one specifically because they reduce tension, friction, and that weird dent that you get from tight elastics. My hair is not quite long enough for a full bun yet, but the half up version actually protects the most fragile part of my hair, which is what I care about most right now. And if I'm not doing a bun, I'll just throw it up in a claw clip, like really gentle. It is my go-to for quick, low damage styling. With these hairstyles, there is no tension. There is no pulling, which means that there is no damage. I do still wear my hair down a lot. It's very easy to do that because it's short, but lately I'm trying to keep it up in a way, specifically keeping the ends completely untouched. Why? Because the ends are the oldest part of your hair. They have been through the most heat, brushing, friction, weather. That's where split ends and breakage almost always start. So if I can keep them moisturized and out of harm's way, as they say, I am protecting all of the growth that I am working for. Okay, now at night I have this whole setup that I swear by. I put my hair in a very loose bun. I put this satin bonnet over my head that ties, and I always apply a tiny bit of serum to the ends before bed. Not a heavy oil, not a full leave-in, just a few drops. My go-tos right now are Moroccanoil Treatment Light and the Dove 10-in-1 Bond Strength Serum. Now, if my hair is feeling extra dry, I'll use the Dove serum. If my hair is just feeling normal, no issues, then I'll use the Moroccanoil serum. It's a little bit lighter. I just use enough to coat the ends and create a barrier. That barrier is very important because the number one thing that I am avoiding right now is mechanical damage. That is the kind of damage that comes from tight hairstyles, friction from tossing and turning at night, yanking elastics out midday. All of that adds up. It shows most in the length that you are trying to retain. Also, I do not do tight hairstyles anymore. No more attention on my scalp. No more slick ponytails, pulling at the roots. That used to be my thing. I would do like 10 different hairstyles in one sitting, filming content, changing the look, taking elastics out over and over, and losing so much hair in the process. If you have not noticed, I have really dialed back the hairstyle videos. The ones I do post are super gentle. Those intricate styles, yes, they were cute, especially on my long hair, but they were splitting my hair like crazy. I just didn't notice at the time because I was trimming my hair so often. Now that I am not trimming my hair, I cannot afford to mess around with hairstyles that are going to destroy my ends. And that is the key here. When you shift from a style first mindset to a retention first routine, literally everything changes. Okay, now let's break this down. My wash method. With shampoo, I always double cleanse. Yes, every single time, even on my gentle wash days. This is non-negotiable. This is your grime lifter. It doesn't need to lather. That is not the goal. I just use this step to break down oil, styling products, dry shampoo if I've used it, sweat, whatever my scalp has been holding on to. Then the second shampoo, this is the deep cleanse. I massage with my fingers, never with my nails, for 60 to 90 seconds. It is this massage that really helps to clear out the follicles and reset the scalp barrier. The idea is the same behind like double cleansing your face. The first step, you get rid of the grime, makeup, whatever, sunscreen. Second step is actually cleaning the surface. Skipping that first cleanse is like washing your face with makeup still on. It doesn't work. I never slap on conditioner and rinse off 5 seconds later. Conditioner is my first step towards length retention. Actually, my second. I'll get into that later. And I treat it like it matters because it is very important. So after rinsing my shampoo, I gently squeeze the excess water out of my hair with my hands. If your hair is sopping wet, it can't actually absorb the conditioner. Water dilutes everything. I apply conditioner starting at the ends and then I slowly work my way upward, never touching the roots. That is key because the ends are the oldest, most damaged part of your hair, as I said, and they need that conditioner the most. I will leave the conditioner on for the rest of the shower, and at the very end I rinse with warm water, and then I wash my back after rinsing because if I don't wash my back after rinsing my conditioner, I will get back acne. This makes a massive difference in how shiny and smooth my hair feels once it dries. It literally feels like glass. I do not use the same shampoo and conditioner every single day. That would be pointless. Your scalp has different needs depending on the day. Did I oil? Did I work out? Am I seeing flakes? Did I style with heavy product yesterday? Do I feel greasy? Do my ends feel dry? I have a wash schedule, but I adjust it accordingly based on the needs of my scalp and my hair. If I'm doing like a pre-cleanse when I have oiled, or if I've used a lot of product, or if my scalp just feels really oily, I'll use the Briogeo scalp scrub, the coconut oil one. This breaks down buildup and preps my scalp for a very good shampoo cleanse. I do this whenever I feel like my scalp is extra oily, if I accidentally went a lot of days between washes, but no more than like once every 2 weeks, or like 1.5 to 2 weeks. Clarifying days 3 times per week. I know that sounds like a lot. The 2 clarifying shampoos that I use based on the needs of my scalp, the Herbal Essences Rose Hip shampoo and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1 tea tree oil shampoo conditioner. I went through a period where I had a lot of dandruff, and I have found the sweet spot for my hair is just alternating between these every 3 to 4 days. The Head and Shoulders 2-in-1, yes, it is drugstore. Both of these are drugstore, but it is loaded with parathione zinc, which is an antifungal and an anti-inflammatory. And it also contains tea tree oil. I get zero itch when I use this. Then after that, I'll use the Dove Bond Strength shampoo. This reinforces the hair with lightweight protein right after clarifying, so my hair is not left vulnerable. Then I will use a hair mask. I will either use the Tsubaki Premium Repair and Moisture Mask or the Dove Bond Strength Serum Mask. Now let's get into sulfate-free days. Step 1 would be the Dove Scalp Therapy Shampoo. This is gentle, this is sulfate-free, it is still effective. Then I'll either use the L'Oreal Dream Lengths shampoo or the Redken Extreme Lengths shampoo. Then for conditioner, I use the complementary conditioner, so either the L'Oreal Dream Lengths or the Redken Extreme Lengths. That is like hard to say. Personally, I would use the Redken one every single wash, but it is very expensive. It was like $55 for those two products for the shampoo and conditioner. I like to, use those like once a week. The L'Oreal Dream Lengths, I use that the most, I think. I want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I use sulfates. Yes, I use silicones a lot every single day. No, I am not afraid of them. And no, they are not toxic. We're not going there today. Sulfates, they're strong cleansers. And sometimes that is exactly what your scalp needs. If you oil your scalp, if you use styling products, sweat a lot, or live somewhere with hard water, you need something strong enough to actually cleanse. Sulfates do that. The key is how you use them. I always follow them with hydration. I monitor the way my scalp feels the next day. Now silicones. Silicones are like armor for your hair. They reduce friction, they prevent breakage, they boost shine, and they seal in moisture. They make my hair smoother, silkier, and easier to manage, which helps me retain the length over time. And because I wash my hair every single day, I am not worried about buildup. My favorite products with silicones, L'Oreal Dream Lengths No Haircut Cream, it has dimethicone. L'Oreal Frizz Killer Serum, it has amodimethicone. Olaplex number 6 and number 7, it has like a blend of silicones that provide heat and UV protection. And this is not about overcomplicating things. This is about knowing what works for my hair, doing it consistently, and trusting the science, not like the internet fear mongering. Once I'm done washing my hair, I remove all of the excess water from the lengths of my hair. I put it up in a hair drying towel, sometimes like a big shirt if I don't have any ones that are clean, and I leave it in until a decent amount of water has been absorbed from my hair by the towel or by the shirt. I am really gentle with this. Wet hair is fragile. Messing with it too much with a towel is really gonna cause breakage and damage. Okay, so now for my little air drying strategy. After the towel, I take the towel off and I leave my hair alone. I just let it air dry until it's about 75% dry. This part is very important because this is where most people mess up. I used to mess this up constantly. Like I would get out of the shower, I would brush my hair while soaking wet, layer 17 products unintentionally, and immediately start styling it because I thought I was locking things in. But no, I don't do that anymore. I was just weakening my hair before it had a chance to actually bounce back once dry. So hair is at its weakest when it is soaking wet. The internal protein bonds called hydrogen bonds are temporarily loosened, and that makes each strand of hair prone to stretching, snapping, and splitting. So when I say that I don't touch it when it's wet, I mean it. No combing, no finger detangling, no product application until it's 75% dry. Letting it air dry to 75% gives my hair time to rebuild its internal structure and makes it stronger when I go in with heat and when I start detangling it. Now here's the part that shocked me when I learned this like 4 years ago. Air drying completely is not actually better. Like yes, leaving your hair alone feels like the gentle option, but when your hair stays wet for too long, it starts to swell inside the cortex, and that swelling and shrinking cycle causes something called hygral fatigue. This slowly weakens the hair from the inside out. There was a study done in South Korea, which I will try to link below if I remember, found that controlled blow drying actually causes less internal damage than air drying, which is crazy. Here is what I do given that information. Once my hair is about 75% dry, I finish drying it with a blow dryer, but I keep it at a distance 12 inches away, and And here is the biggest change that I've made recently. I do not use a brush. I used to always do a full blowout with a round brush blow dryer because I thought that was the only way to get a smooth finish, or I would just use like a hairbrush while blow drying. But for me, especially with straight hair, all of that added tension is doing way more harm than good. So now I just use my hands to gently lift and separate sections as I dry. I am not styling, I am not smoothing, I am not trying to force a shape. The only goal is to close the cuticle and remove moisture in a way that prevents swelling and frizz without any mechanical stress. And this honestly changed everything for me. My hair air dries smoother now than it ever did when I was brushing and blow drying it the traditional way. This is crazy, but I never use the blow dryer brushes anymore. The amount of hair that gets pulled out from those, the amount of pulling and tension on my hair. Do I love the way my hair looks right after using them? Yes. The damage right now though is not worth it for me. Okay, now let's talk about brushing. Once my hair is completely dry, then I will brush it. Also, I want to shout out where I found this. So there was like a TikToker who gave that tip, but they said that they got it from Abby Young. Shout out to both that TikToker and Abby Young. That is where I got this information from. Again, when my hair was really long, I was not really concerned with the breakage at the ends because I knew I was just going to trim like once a month. Now that it's short and I'm trying to reduce as much breakage as humanly possible, I'm not taking any chances with the Revlon round brush or the round brush attachment that comes with the Dyson. Once my hair is completely dry, then I brush it. And even then, I go very slow and controlled. I always start at the ends and then I work my way up. That is like hair care 101, but it makes such a difference when you're in hair growth mode because when you are brushing from the roots down, you're basically just shoving knots through the length of your hair, pulling on the hair shaft and snapping off your hair in the process. I am not trying to lose an inch of growth because I was rushing through detangling my hair. Also, I've already mentioned my OCD. So I used to have a compulsion of brushing my hair. I would brush my hair a lot throughout the day. Now, for every like 15 times that I would brush my hair before, I now brush it like once. If that. I am literally brushing my hair like once a day. If it doesn't need to be detangled, I just leave it. And if it is heavily tangled, I'll spray in something like a detangling spray just to help to detangle it so that it doesn't cause damage. Okay, so let's talk about product layering. Most people think this starts after the shower. It doesn't. The way that I layer products spans my entire routine. Every single layer serves a specific purpose and function. Every step is strategic, and this method has done more for my hair's strength, texture, and length retention than anything else that I have ever tried ever. Literally, this is the best thing that I have ever done for my hair. First layer for my product layering routine is a pre-wash serum on the ends of my hair. Before I even step in the shower, I coat the ends of my hair with a light layer of serum. It's a method that protects the oldest, driest parts of my hair from being overexposed to water and shampoo. Think of this like slugging for your hair. The ends of your hair are more porous than the rest, and when you shower, they absorb and release water more quickly, and this can lead to hygral fatigue, which is what I talked about before, which is a cycle of swelling and contracting that weakens the hair from the inside. This pre-wash serum step reduces that damage before it even starts. My go-tos are the OGX coconut miracle oil, the Gizu honey infused hair oil, and just straight up coconut oil. Also the Garnier Fructis Moroccan argan oil. The next layer is conditioner or hair mask in the shower. If it's a regular wash day, I use a lightweight slip heavy conditioner like L'Oreal Dream Lengths. If I'm clarifying, I'll follow with something a little bit more reparative like the Dove Bond Strength Mask or the Tsubaki Premium Repair Mask. The purpose isn't just hydration, it is rebalancing my hair after shampooing. Shampoo lifts the cuticle. This step flattens the cuticle back down and seals in moisture before your hair gets a chance to frizz or dry out. Once I'm out of the shower, I towel dry my hair until it's damp, as I mentioned, making sure that my hair is not dripping wet, and then I will apply the leave-in. This is the base layer for post-wash protection. It softens, it hydrates, it preps the hair for the next 2 layers. And again, I am applying a small amount, a literal dime size amount, maybe less. Some of my favorites are L'Oreal Dream Lengths No Haircut Cream and Redken Acidic Bonding Concentrate Leave-In. If your hair gets tangled easily or feels rough when air drying, this step is non non-negotiable. It literally changes how the hair dries and how it behaves until your next wash day. So then I use another serum after the leave-in. This layer is all about smoothing and sealing in the leave-in into the cuticle. It adds slip, it reduces friction, and it gives your hair that shiny reflective finish without weighing it down. And that's key just based on the products you're using. So these serums usually contain silicones like dimethicone and amodimethicone, which are known for creating a protective film around the hair shaft. And that film helps to reduce mechanical damage from brushing, sleeping, styling. It also locks in hydration and prevents frizz. Some of my favorites: L'Oreal Frizz Killer Serum, Moroccanoil Treatment Light. This is also the step that makes the biggest difference in how my hair dries. Even if I air dry, I get that flat, smooth, no frizz finish because the cuticle on my hair is sealed. The next layer is heat protectant. This is the final prep step before blow drying. Even though some of the products I use already contain heat protection, I still layer a dedicated heat protection product on top. For me, it's about creating redundancy. So if one product fades or if it absorbs too quickly, the next product will have my back. Some of my favorites: Tresemme Thermal Creations and the L'Oreal Dream Lengths Heat Slayer Spray. Heat damage is cumulative, so you don't feel it after one blow dry, but you will see it in a few months if you skip this step continuously. The next layer is the serum that I put on the ends before I go to bed. So this is the final step, and this is so underrated. I take a drop of serum, just a tiny amount, and I smooth it onto the ends of my hair before I put my hair in a loose bun and wrap it in the satin bonnet. My favorite products for this step are lightweight oils that won't feel greasy, that won't transfer to my bonnet. Again, Moroccanoil Treatment Light, Dove 10-in-1 Bond Strength Serum. This entire routine is built on one principle: layered protection. Each layer builds on the last layer to reinforce your hair's structure and barrier function, and the cumulative effect: way less breakage, smoother texture, shinier hair, and most importantly, actual retained length. So let's discuss bond repair. This is not an optional extra. This is a cornerstone of how I'm growing my hair to my waist without constant trims, breakage, or setbacks. And the treatment that I have come to rely on more than anything else, which is surprising because I used to love the competitor, is K18. I know it is pricey, I know it is hyped, but here's the truth: it lives up to the hype if you use it the right way and only when it's needed. Hair is made up of keratin protein chains that are held together by different kinds of bonds: disulfide, hydrogen, ionic, and peptide. When we heat style, if you brush aggressively, if you chemically treat your hair, those internal bonds start to break down. Over time, that internal breakdown leads to surface level stuff that we all notice, like split ends, like dullness, rough texture, excessive tangling, and hair that just will not grow past a certain point, not because it's not growing, but because you're not retaining the length. Bond repair steps in at the molecular level before the damage becomes visible. It reinforces the integrity of your hair structure from the inside out, and that is how you prevent the kind of breakage that makes it feel like your hair is not growing. I use K18 every 2 weeks, not weekly, and definitely not every wash day, because bond repair is not a moisture treatment. It is not meant to be layered in constantly. The peptide in K18 works by physically mimicking and reconnecting broken polypeptide chains in the hair shaft. But if you overdo it, you can actually tip the balance and make your hair feel stiff, dry, or even more fragile than before. So I wait until my hair starts showing signs that it needs a reset. Usually that's every 2 weeks, after I've done a lot of heat styling, if it is feeling too soft and limp. So when I say I do it every 2 weeks, that's usually the amount of time that it takes. Let's say that I went a little overboard with a curling iron or something and the ends are feeling a little bit damaged, I'll just do a K18 treatment, and then maybe in 1.5 weeks later, the same thing, and I need it again. I don't know. That's kind of like how I do it. And by the way, just speaking of heat, I do use heat on my hair in the form of a curling iron. I try to avoid the ends, but I feel like I kind of balance it out with K18 and just the product layering that I do. Okay, so let's talk about my K18 application process. The way that you prep your hair before K18 can make or break how effective this whole treatment is. So the first step is to shampoo twice with a sulfate shampoo from roots to ends. I know this goes against what I usually say, but in this case, it is essential. K18 needs a totally clean, product-free canvas to penetrate deeply, which means no oils, no residue, no leftover styling products. Think of it like cleansing before a professional skin treatment. The cleaner the base, the better the result. So I gently remove excess water, not wringing, not twisting in a towel, just squeezing the water out with my hands. Sometimes I'll even use like a microfiber towel. The goal is damp hair, not dripping wet. Water dilutes the peptide complex and it prevents it from fully penetrating. So this step is key. The next step is to apply 1 to 2 pumps of K18 starting at the ends. I emulsify this within my hands first until it turns creamy. Then I apply it section by section, mid-lengths to ends. Then I wait 4 minutes exactly. This is not a leave-in conditioner. This is a treatment that finishes working at the molecular level after 4 minutes. That is the science. The patented K18 peptide binds within that window. You do not need to leave it on longer to get more benefit. K18, from what I've read, says don't layer a hair mask or conditioner on top, but I've tested it both ways. And for my hair, following with a lightweight hydrating mask after those 4 minutes helps to bring back softness and moisture to my hair without interfering with the bond repair. Because again, K18 is done after 4 minutes. It is not going to get canceled out by a little extra hydration. Then rinse everything out and I still get all of the benefits. You can do every other step in your routine perfectly, but if your internal structure is crumbling, your ends are going to snap off before you even see the length. Bond damage is sneaky. It does not always show up right away, but it is cumulative. And if you don't repair it, it compounds over time. Using K18 strategically is how I'm growing my hair longer without the setbacks that I used to run into. I'm doing fewer trims, obviously, less breakage, and a smoother texture all the way down to the ends. All right, so let's talk about oiling. This is one of those practices that has been overhyped, misused, and misunderstood more than almost anything in the hair care world. In my humble opinion, it is either treated like the miracle step that will make your hair grow 5 inches overnight, or it is treated like this outdated, greasy ritual that modern routines don't need. But the truth is that it is neither. If you do it right, and I mean strategically, based on your actual hair and scalp, it can completely change the way your hair grows and how healthy your scalp feels. Right now, I am oiling my scalp once every 4 washes. Recently, I wanted to do like everyday scalp oiling to grow my hair. I thought that the more that I did it, the better. And while that actually didn't damage my hair, it didn't damage my scalp, it definitely overwhelmed my routine. It just wasn't sustainable. So now I am oiling my scalp strategically before sulfate shampoo days. That way I know I'm doing a deep cleanse anyway, so I'm not risking over residue or clogged follicles. So there are 2 formulas that I switch between. I rotate between 2 scalp oils, Valona hair growth oil and Botana oil. Valona is a little bit more lightweight. It is loaded with growth supporting oils like rosemary and peppermint, and it absorbs quickly into my scalp. Botana oil is richer. It gives this soothing, buttery feel that is almost therapeutic. The ingredients in both help with growth. Yes, rosemary oil, argan oil, peppermint oil, these all have real evidence behind them when it comes to circulation, anti-inflammatory benefits, and follicle support. But this is not about a magic potion. It is about consistency and barrier support. So I am not promising hair miracles with these oils. What I'm saying is that my scalp is healthier, less itchy, and more balanced when I oil regularly. Let's walk through exactly how I oil my scalp. I apply the oil directly to my scalp using a dropper. This targets the root without overloading the rest of my hair. I start with a finger massage. I massage the oil in with my fingertips for like a minute or 2. I use gentle rhythmic pressure to stimulate blood flow. Then I'll go in with a bamboo scalp comb. This is a game changer. I go in for about 5 minutes with a wide tooth bamboo scalp comb to gently lift buildup and exfoliate. This loosens flakes, it distributes oil, boosts circulation, way more effective than just using your fingers alone. Then I leave it on for about 10 minutes after that. I leave it on just enough to nourish the follicles and soften the scalp surface, but not so long that it starts attracting dirt or clogging pores. I always follow up with sulfates. I only oil on days when I'm planning to use a sulfate shampoo because sulfates are the only things strong enough to fully remove the oil from my scalp. I treat oiling like a pre-shampoo scalp facial, not a mask, not a soak, just a gentle 15-minute reset before cleansing. And really quick, I want to mention 2 other things that I've been using consistently that I completely forgot to add to this video. Rice water and the Brazilian Rapunzel hair growth tonic. Let's talk about rice water. I've used it on and off for years, but I recently brought it back into my routine once a week, and I'm doing it differently than how most people use it, how I used to use it. Instead of pouring it on as a rinse after conditioning, I am actually using it after shampooing, but before my hair mask. So I pour it directly onto my scalp and the length of my hair. I massage it in gently and I let it sit for about 5 minutes. Then, without rinsing it out, I apply my hair mask on top. That way I am getting the strengthening benefits of the rice water and the hydration from the mask in one sitting. After about 10 minutes total, I rinse everything out together. This method has helped me avoid the stiffness and dryness from rice water, and my hair has been doing really well with it. Now the Brazilian Rapunzel hair growth tonic, this is something I apply after I wash my hair only about 2 to 3 times a week. I spray it directly onto my scalp, mainly the crown and the hairline. I don't rinse it out. It is lightweight, it does not make my roots greasy, and the ingredients are solid. Things like biotin, caffeine, plant extracts that help to stimulate circulation and promote follicle health. I don't expect either of these to work overnight, but paired with everything else that I'm doing, they have definitely been a nice addition. My scalp feels balanced, my hair is staying strong, and again, it is all about that long-term consistency. Please let me know if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Again, every single product linked on the video, linked in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to download my hair care app, Hair to Hair, to document your hair care routine, get product recommendations. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys next time.